Welcome into Getting Help from Uncle Sam. And we have really wanted to bring you as much good information as we can on the mayoral race because it is important. And we are very fortunate to have back with us today one of the candidates, David Woods. David, welcome. We are so delighted to have you back.
Thank you, Virginia and Jack. I appreciate the invitation to come back.
And how's the campaign been going? I mean, I know people don't usually ask you that, but it's hectic, right?
It's very busy. You know, to run a successful campaign requires an enormous amount of energy, planning, and effort. It's 12 hours a day, every day, and if you're not putting the time, effort, energy into it, some things don't fall between the cracks. Things don't happen. So it's quite frankly, it's more demanding than I expected. But we can, you know, fortunately, the Lord's blessed us with a lot of energy, and we're able to keep up.
Well, I love the fact that, and you've got your family totally behind you, and I think that is extremely important because I see you and Donna at so many events where, and I know how tiring it is, but you know what? They're all important, and they're all a part of a community unity, which is what you have talked about a good bit. I'd like to know, really, what are your top three at this point, having looked at a lot of different situations more deeply than you otherwise would have? What are your top three, if you had a magic wand, wishes that you could change?
Well, they're really the same as when we started, because we did quite a bit of research, and quite frankly, I think the masses knew the issues. Education, that's the number one issue, because education creates a lot of subsequent problems.
But what most people don't understand is education's not under your purview.
Not directly.
Not directly.
Correct.
You know, it's so, and I think our viewers need to realize that, because a lot of times they want to blame the mayor for what's happening. It's not his school system, it's the county system.
Correct. Montgomery's a little different.
So we need to if you'll clarify that for the viewers so they understand.
Montgomery's different than a lot of communities. Montgomery does not oversee the Board of Education. The county does.
Right.
So they really have the authority. The funding goes to the county, they distribute the funds, they hire the superintendent. So the county has ultimate authority. But really, as mayor, though, you have a platform that allows you to have a lot of influence.
Okay.
It's what you really call lateral leadership. You know, it's not direct leadership, but it's lateral leadership. And it's where you have the ability to get involved with the players. You can get involved with the Board of Education. You can get involved with the superintendent. You can get involved with the public, Maxwell, other stakeholders to try to make changes. You know, you can go out as mayor. You can study other school systems in different parts of the country that are successful. And there are a lot of school systems that have improved dramatically over the last 5 years by making changes that are being reflected in the classrooms. So it's very feasible that we can make dramatic improvements in our education system because it's happening elsewhere. So we sort of know the model that's working. Our model is not working. You know, our system is under intervention. It was taken over by the state.
Right.
It's not the students' fault. The students they're doing their best, but they're in an environment that's not just working for them.
And basically, ultimately, the Board of Education is the one that makes a lot of the decisions.
Correct. The Board of Education
the board answers, we got that test. He's been around all week, David, so
we'll
it's not just for you. We didn't bring him in just for you. But the Board of Education, they answer to the county commissioners?
Correct.
Okay. Okay.
And we have a good board. We have a new board. They were sworn in December.
Right.
So they've been on the job 6 months. So
Right.
it's a learning experience for them. But I'm comfortable with the new board members. They have business experience. You know, they're not bureaucrats. They got into this business, or they got into the leadership roles because they had a desire to change the system, to improve the system. And if you talk to them, they really care about the students. And that's the end of the day, it's about what can we do to help these students.
Absolutely.
God created people for a purpose. And if we don't give them the education that they deserve and should have, they may not be able to fulfill that purpose. And I think a lot of our current board members understand the responsibility of producing students that are well educated and equipped for real world jobs.
Giving them the tools they need.
Correct.
That's basically it. Okay, number two.
Crime.
Crime, okay.
And that's a serious problem.
Yes.
The lack of education results
True.
in crime.
You're right. You're right.
It's a pipeline
Yes.
for crime. And,
Yes.
and just think about it. If you come out of the 12th grade in our system and you're not equipped for
right.
jobs, if you don't have the education that you could have had and should have had, what are you going to do? You can't go to college in most cases. You're not able to get into the military. You probably decide you get pulled into a life of crime. It's not so much by choice, it's out of necessity. And if you're 18 and you have no resources, what are you going to do? You have to eat, you need a place to live.
Yep.
So we're just feeding the criminal industry by producing students that aren't as qualified or did not have the education that we all had.
I agree. It's all interlinked.
Yep.
But back to crime, though, there's a lot of things you can do to improve crime. You know, you can take existing crime going forward and work on it through the police department. But you can also go think, what can we do with the 2- and 3-year-olds today to make sure that they don't go down that same road?
Absolutely.
You know, you can do mentoring at an early age. You can create, you can motivate retirees, which is something that we really are interested in doing because there's thousands and thousands of
Right.
retirees in Montgomery. And if they did nothing but go to the schools at 3 o'clock every afternoon and spend an hour and a half reading to kindergartners, first, second, third, fourth graders, or helping with math or subjects that certain students aren't doing really well in, these students would improve immediately. And this has been what a lot of other cities are doing around the country to help. You know, so they're dealing with the problem in 2 ways. How do you prepare students coming up to not go that route? And then what do you do with students that have already gotten in trouble and have gone that route? You know, one thing we don't do well is we could work with inmates, people who are in jail short term, 6, 12 months here in the Montgomery jails, and do job training, spend a lot of time on job training, so that when they get out,
They have something to do.
yes,
Yep.
and most of them are in for nonviolent
Yeah.
crimes. The majority are in for, misdemeanors or felonies. They've been arrested 2 or 3
petty
times for
theft.
shoplifting.
Yep.
But if we could train them, which we should be able to do certain jobs, where there's shortages, HVAC jobs, electrical jobs,
right.
carpentry, body work. Body work pays real well.
Yes.
To work at a body shop. These men would come out of the system. They could get jobs, and then they're supporting. They're able to generate income, and they can support themselves.
Yeah, they're not back in that same
Amen.
trap.
Right.
I agree.
Because you're taking them out,
I
putting them
agree.
back in a trap.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
They get back into the trap, Jack.
Yep.
You're exactly
Absolutely.
right. So we need to
Absolutely.
figure out, how do we keep them from going back into the trap?
Real quickly, because we're running out of time here, but a lot of seniors, we talked about retirees, but a lot of seniors here. Anything pertaining to, you and I talked about pickleball or just things for seniors to be able to do to give them a better quality of life here.
Well, that's a good question, because every day we've got thousands of people. The country every day produces about 10,000 people over the age or turning 65.
Right.
In America, 10,000 a day. That's 300,000 a month turn 65. So government needs to really think about what can we do to help seniors? What can we create?
Right.
And you can do everything from entertainment to education to just lifestyle changes.
Right.
You mentioned pickleball.
That's why we're doing this show.
Exactly.
That's the whole reason
right.
of this show.
That's
we
right.
can help.
Right. It enhance their lives.
But I believe probably our best resource in this country are retirees.
Right.
People are healthier than they've ever been, 65 plus, and just let's take people between 70 and 80. If they're retired, they have enormous time and energy
Right.
to do things for society, and most of them have a desire to be significant. They want to help. So if we could create different avenues to funnel these seniors, these well-trained
Right.
people, I think we could use the seniors to solve a lot of the problems that we deal with in our city. We have 200,000 people in Montgomery. You have 480 police officers. And we need to expand it. But if you've got 15,000 seniors, 20,000 seniors, and you can motivate some of those people to get involved in trying to help these areas. Then you've got an army of
Absolutely.
bodies helping to solve a problem. And it's really going to take an enormous amount of effort from the public sector, from the private sector, to solve these problems. The public sector is just not big enough. They don't have the resources. We're going to make it better and more efficient, but we're really our plan is to tap into retirees. You know, you got community centers. Here's an example. All of them that have been closed. McIntyre, Bellingraph.
Right.
And during the summer, these young children don't have places to
right.
go. Their moms
That's right.
work. What if we could staff them with retirees? And
Get it
from
going
8 to
in the right
5,
direction. Absolutely.
Correct.
David, thank you.
All right.
It's August the 27th. It's
Correct.
right around the corner. And do your homework and make sure that you're looking at what these mayoral candidates are going to bring to the city, because this is a very crucial time
Yes,
in
it
our
is.
lives. And we'll be right back right after this.